And welcome to Kentucky Brew Reviews. I'm Special K.
And I'm Fuzzy, and tonight we are going to start a new segment tonight. Somewhere in here. Yeah, so we decided, since we've been doing all these beer reviews, we're going to educate our audience about what makes beers beer. When it comes to different styles and things. Because we got lagers, you got pilsners, you got pale ales, stuff like that. But we're going to go a little in depth and see what makes an ale, or as what we're going to do tonight, what makes a pilsner a pilsner.
Which pilsner is a lager, just for you guys out in the world that didn't know that. So to be fair, there are quite a few different types of pilsners. There's different brands, of course, but there are 3 or 4 main types of pilsners. You have your Czech pilsners, your Bohemian pilsners, German pilsners, there's American adjunct pilsners, and you have European styles. Tonight I've got a Czech pilsner. It's a Czech style pilsner, but it's made in the U.S. It's called Torch Pilsner. It's made in North Carolina. And Fuzzy, what do you have?
I got a National Bohemian beer, which is going to assume
it's a Bohemian
brewed in the Bohemian Pilsner style.
But it's made by Pabst though, so it's not. It's good because Bohemian Pilsners typically would be a little sweeter.
Yeah, which I like them a little better than other Pilsners.
And Czech Pilsners tend to be a little hoppier, so this has got 35 on the IBU scales.
Yeah.
Speaking of IBUs, most Pilsners, now these are traditional Pilsners, so the German, the Czech, and the Bohemian styles, they range from 20 to 40-ish on the IBU scales normally, which is pretty normal.
Yeah, it is, but then again, most American-made Pilsners, especially like an American adjunct like Budweiser or Bud Light or anything, they usually rate about 7 to 10. They rate fairly low on the IBU scale.
And we'll go more into about the adjunct American ones later.
Yeah.
We're not hating on them by any means. We're just talking about them. But ABV, alcohol by volume on most Pilsners, they range from 4.3 to 5.5-ish. This one's 5.3. That one's, I think, 4.5. And with most beers, what are the ingredients?
You got your barley, hops.
Barley, hops, yeast, water, and then the adjunct version, like the adjunct lagers, you'll have corn, rice, some kind of filler.
Yeah. Which in some cases they really stand out, and in others they don't. It's one of those. It's a give or take with the adjunct ingredients.
You typically don't see fruit flavors in a lot of Pilsner beers. They try to lean away from those. They're really traditional in the style.
Yeah, because you get into those fruit flavors and you're starting to enter into a different territory completely, I think. And
it's not a super old style of beer, really.
No,
I think the first Pilsner was made in the 1840s.
In fact, it's still in production today.
Yeah, the same. What was that?
Oh, it's Pilsner something. I can't remember.
It starts with a Urquell or something.
Pilsner Urquell. It's a Urquell. And
that I've seen it around. We just haven't tried it.
Yeah.
It is one of the. It is still in production today. It was made a lot differently in the 1840s than it is today.
It was initially made. It was top fermented.
Which most Pilsners are bottom fermented, which means they're brewed at a cooler temperature and typically away from air, light, stuff like that. Now we're going to go over some different. We're going to talk about some different examples. Like a good Czech Pilsner is Pilsner Urquell. What we said, I'm saying that, I'm butchering the name wrong.
Yeah.
That's a good example of a Czech one. This is Torches too. This is Torch Pilsner, but it's not particularly easy to get a hold of.
Yeah.
A good example of a European style is good old Heine.
Yeah.
Heineken.
Which is odd because a lot of people don't think that as a Pilsner.
Yeah, but by flavor wise, it kind of is.
But I think they mostly don't they market it as just a straight lager.
Well, remember Pilsner?
I know, but it's one of those. I guess I'm more of a stickler for specifics, I guess. But
you know any German ones off the top of your head?
Not top of my head.
I think they're, what was that? Warsteiner. Beck's. Beck's is kind
Beck's is probably one of the biggest on the list.
Right? I don't even consider. I guess it's kind of a German beer, Beck's, but it's not. Yeah. I'm sure Anheuser-Busch or one of those companies owns Beck's.
Probably.
And then, you start to get into the American style, which I think a good example of a decent Pilsner, at least one I like, well, obviously the ones you're drinking, but Shiner does a...
they do a very good Pilsner.
Blonde. They call it a blonde, but it's considered a Pilsner.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty solid Pilsner. And I guess technically you can consider the Budweiser and all those Pilsners, but they're not... they have a lot of filler in them.
Yeah, they really do.
Which that's fine and dandy, but they don't really meet the hoppy. They don't meet the hoppy characteristics because of that filler kind of.
It overpowers it in some ways.
Well, and the rice doesn't add a lot, but it does make it makes it a lot drier and crisper when they use rice as a filler, as opposed to
that does.
And then you have a Miller who they use corn, so they get a sweetness from the corn, which they get a little bit of the corn flavor.
Which most Pilsners do come out kind of sweet, but it's not. It's just sweet enough to cut through the bitterness of the hops.
Which is what they're shooting for. But see, with the Bud, that stuff, they don't have that hoppiness there. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why people, they're the most popular beer in the world. That's because they're so easy to drink. Yeah. But they don't have they don't have a big flavor profile.
Yeah. And that's a good thing that I like about Pilsners, that most of them are really easy to drink. They're really light. They have decent flavor. And it's not something that you're going to want to sit there and, after drinking one or two, just never again. I'm not drinking this anymore.
And keep in mind, each company uses different variations of hops and yeast in their Pilsners.
Yeah.
Like this one used the Saaz hops, and this one, but Noble hops are used a lot in Pilsners.
Yeah, they are.
And then you got your different kinds of malts. Obviously, they're using different types of Pilsners.
Yeah. Well, I want to point out is that I think most Pilsners use real similar yeasts, because I think most yeasts fit into, I could be wrong here, but I think that they fit into that top fermenting or bottom fermenting category, and most of the yeasts that they use for Pilsners are in that bottom fermenting, because I think it's the temperature at which they begin to ferment is different, and it will just yield a different flavor. But I could just be talking out my ass. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, we're not experts on this stuff.
Yeah.
This is just stuff we've learned over going to brewery tours. And we've went on a few brewery tours, a few that you guys seen, a few that you haven't. So, bottom line, Fuzzy, what do you think of Pilsners?
I like them. Not my favorite, but I like them. It's one of those, they're really light, they're easy to drink. But me, I'm all about my wheat and fruit beers and stuff like that, and I'm not super huge on ones that have the super corny flavors, which is
fillers.
Yeah. But what about you?
Pilsners, again, they aren't my favorite. I do enjoy them. They are easy to drink. They're great summer beers. My favorite style is, of course, box. Not into the no box section.
Yeah.
And I like most beers. One I don't really care for though is definitely barley wines, and I've tried. I just can't get into those.
Yeah. No IPAs for me.
IPAs I don't hate IPAs. Just they're a little overpowering sometimes. Some of them, when they get over in the hundreds on the IBUs, is a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Especially when most of what you drink usually doesn't pass that 40, 50 range.
That's our episode. We hope you guys liked it. If there's something you'd like to see us to talk about, like a style of beer or a type of beer, you leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm Special K.
And I'm Fuzzy.
Thanks for watching.